Are we doing it?
Yeah,
This is how I always start. Are we
what's
doing
the
it?
number?
It's 41, Ron. It's in the title of the invitation.
Yeah, well, I went and looked at my calendar. It's like, what number is this?
The only way I can remember, we've established I never know. Dave usually knows.
He does know. He's smart.
This guy's on top of it, man. This
Checks
fucking
out.
guy.
This Mr. Tier 1 over here.
Where are you? Yeah. Hey, where are you at in the world, Tier 1? Are you home?
I'm back in Australia. Things are normal, which is great. We drive, it's called Macca's, not McDonald's, and we drive on the left-hand side of the road. No one talks about politics, just happy days.
Yeah.
Happy days.
Dave was, for the record, in Houston, Texas, which, I mean, if you like Houston, good for you, fuckers. Because I don't like Houston. That's just I have a personal problem with it being so hot, humid, and way too many people driving around. And you have 2 airports, which is dumb.
I went to both of them to come home on Friday.
Yeah, of course you did.
Yeah, I went to Hobby, and then DFW was shut down, so I Ubered across to George Bush and flew to LA. So I went to both of those airports on Friday.
Excellent.
Wow. Good for you. That's an accomplishment. Little airport tour.
What were you doing there, Dave?
At the airport?
Not at the...
Catching a plane, Ben. What do you do at the airport?
Yeah, Jesus.
In Houston.
Working on my 10. No, doing 5-day residential course, Safety Leadership Institute, executive education for safety directors, safety VPs. So small group of folk putting up with my shit for 5 days and Matt Hallowell's shit and a few others.
Well, Hallowell's probably doing a good job, but somebody's got to balance that out.
Exactly right. Like, you can't have 2 stars on the same team. It's like a basketball team, right? You can't afford to have 2 MVPs. Yeah.
I think Hallowell's probably not doing a lot of basketball, not at a pro level.
No, I'm not sure.
He doesn't have the height for it.
How tall is he?
Sorry,
I've never met him.
I don't think he's 6 foot. Sorry, Matt.
This is good content, right?
Is what it is. Yeah. I mean, we could say whatever we want. If people don't know him, Matt's 7 feet tall. That's
exactly right.
No big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the problem. That's why he's not good at basketball. He's too tall. He's
too tall.
Yeah.
He hits his head on the fucking...
Too, if his hair's done right.
Hits his head on the ring all the time.
Yeah. It's just embarrassing, really.
Anyway, so Ben, I'm back in Australia.
Got
propaganda behind me. Just a few of us who just avoid the US at the moment. So
why? What's going on?
Yeah, it's weird. Is there something me and Ron haven't heard about?
No, everything's normal.
Yeah. Well, correct.
Normal. You only got a year or so to your midterms, and states are furiously redrawing boundaries so that they can get the result that they want.
Texas and success, man.
Texas and California are having these kind of like, we're gonna change our result, and we're gonna change our result too. So good times.
That's what we do.
Great.
And then only 20% of you fuckers turn out and vote anyway. So
what do they do in Australia?
100%. It's against the law.
You're required by law to vote.
You have to
Is that
vote.
right?
Yeah, you have to vote. If you don't vote, you'll get a fine. It's it's compulsory.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Now I do wish I'd moved there. They wouldn't have me. For the record, for anybody listening.
That's the reason you wish you moved there?
Well, no. I mean, it's just...
Have you turned off notifications on your phone?
It's a lot of good stuff going on.
You still can.
Well, I couldn't get a visa last time. You know this.
Yeah.
You could sponsor me. I can't sponsor Dave to come here anymore because the H-1B is $100,000 now. But I got to be honest, man. It's
not worth it.
Not worth it.
Is that all?
Yeah, it went up from what, 2,000 to 100. It was a pretty steep rate hike.
Yeah,
that's an aggressive tariff. That's an aggressive tariff.
It's a lot of inflation.
Of all the tariffs, it's like, all right, well, we're gonna by 5,000. You want to bring Dave in? It's 5,000% tariff.
Yeah, and now we're just not going to have PhD students anymore because I think we were importing most of those as well.
Well, I'm pretty sure most of your higher education institutions got all their funding cut anyway.
Yeah,
also correct. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, look, on that sunny note, Ron's got Vandals back there.
Yeah, I don't know. Just I was just listening to Hitler Bad, Vandals Good earlier today for some reason.
Reminder.
But yeah, things are all right. I'm in the middle of a move still, which is super fun. And but still in LA for the moment. Pretty soon I'm going to be in Bakersfield.
Oh.
Next time we record.
If anybody wants to send just like condolences or whiskey to Ron for having,
or if any of you peeps are in Bakersfield, come buy me a drink.
So there you go, in person. It's like a Patreon kind of situation.
Yes. I've never been, Ron. I'll make the effort next time I'm across.
Come on out, brother.
Yeah,
I got you. That's where Buck Owens is from. It's called the Texas of California.
Yes, it is.
If that means anything.
Excellent. I'll wear me belt buckle.
You won't be the only one.
Sweet.
What about you, Ben?
Shit. I'm in San Francisco. I'm gonna go hang with a bunch of folks from the port of Oakland and San Francisco airport and all sorts of places in between. I don't know, 35 people hanging out in a class this week.
That's a lot of people to offend.
You put the asses in the seats, bud.
Asses in seats, man. That's what it's about. And I was asked specifically because last week I was in Edmonton hanging with Capital Power, and they wanted a little shout out on the podcast. So here it is.
Nice.
Capital Power. That means the P is capitalized. The most power.
Wow. Oh. Maximum power.
I don't know. Seemed like a lot of power. This is Punter. That's a Melbourne band, Dave. Do you know Punter?
No.
It's kind of, I don't think a lot of people listen to them, but it's hard. They describe themselves as anarcho punk. So we've got a theme going here. Propaganda, Vandals, hardcore Melbourne, anarcho punk. And drew my attention to the wallpaper back there, which I didn't fully appreciate until he said something.
There's going to be some.
I just thought it was green.
NSFW, if you're watching the YouTube.
Yeah, don't put this on a big screen in the
Don't zoom in on
it is. I don't even know where you buy wallpaper like that, but I'd like to find out.
Yeah. No. Ben's browser history is now just wallpaper searches.
Kama Sutra wallpaper. Wallpaper Kama Sutra.
No, I think that's overselling it, man. I'm not sure it's even that.
Yeah.
Speaking of Melbourne, when I had to fly out to the States, I missed Frenzal Rom. Shout out to Josh and the Frenzal Rom backdrops. But they were playing literally like 500 yards from my office at a local pub, 25th anniversary or something of the Man's Not a Camel album, and on a plane spewing.
That would have been worth just skipping. I'd have filled in for you. It'd be fine.
Could have. Next time.
Matt wouldn't have noticed. Spitting image.
Yeah, the same.
Dave, your beard is so much bigger.
Accent's different.
Yeah.
A lot of changes.
But Matt's so tall that he wouldn't have noticed
7 foot
the height
tall
difference.
Hello.
Everyone, wouldn't have noticed.
From there, everybody looks. It's hard. Dave had an idea for what we should talk about today.
Yeah, what are we talking about, David?
So we'll give you credit for it.
Give me credit. I thought we'd talk about pre-start meetings, pre-job briefs, whatever you want to call that discussion that you have before you start work. Just when I was sort of in Houston last week with Matt, he was sort of talking about the CSRA research around increasing the quality of pre-job briefs, and then how the quality of pre-job briefs directly relates to the identification and control of high energy hazards. And I kind of feel like we haven't talked about pre-job briefs, and every kind of industry has its own, whether you're in aviation or healthcare or construction or whatever, has its own version of a pre-start meeting. And I was just really keen to get your guys' views and on kind of how you see that process and how it's evolving and yeah, how we
Yeah,
get
it's
it right and
cool.
how we fuck it up.
It's cool that you bring up aviation because I hadn't really thought, when I think pre-job brief, I think about, we're sort of centering on the JSA and these kind of things. But in aviation, having been there for a while, it's kind of cool. It's a very structured pre-brief before you're going to go fly. That would be a little different, maybe in maintenance, than it would for flight crew. But I think what's different, or what strikes me as different than being out and doing so many other things, oil and gas or construction, power, those sorts of things, is every flight is different, right? The weather is different, the routing is different, the city pairing is different, the crew is different. So I think it's the monotony of pre-job briefs a lot of times that doesn't help the quality. And I know you guys have seen these, but I sat at one of these not that long ago, and the high point literally was guys were doing the same shit we do every day. It's super hot, so maybe drink water. And that's not a very helpful version of it. Versus Dave, what you said, like aviation, I think is not always perfect, but there is a pretty defined structure. It's also not the same all the time.
Well, one of the things that's in my head in this is, are we putting in the same category? Pre-job briefing to me says like, okay, this is like a meeting, a conversation, a discussion amongst the crew or whatever. And then like Ben, you mentioned like JSAs, that's in construction, that's very much like the industry standard. They call it different things, of course, but something like that that's very paperwork based, right? Which can be used, is in theory part of the briefing or discussion, but not necessarily the same thing per se.
No, but it's sort of
Adjacent.
would you say it's meant to be like an artifact of a JHA or a JSA, or a discussion? I mean, the JSA and JHAs are an artifact of being able to, well, there's plenty of good books on this, prove that we did something useful by saying, well, here's the paperwork. So now I have proof that we had a discussion. So I tie them together, to your point. I guess not the same thing, but for me, they live in the same place anyway.
Because I'm wondering a little bit too, and Dave, maybe you all addressed this in the meeting, because Halliwell's talking about his research about how these things are working in your pre-job briefing with Matt before you went and talked about pre-job briefings. But where he's talking about his research and how theoretically, I would assume he's finding some benefit to it. But then I think of Drew and Yop and those guys.
I often think of Drew and Yop.
Yeah, I mean, and the end that wallpaper. But but I think it was them, and you may have been on this paper too.
Shocking if he wasn't.
On the Take 5 paper, right, where they found that it didn't do anything. Like there was no benefit to it.
So I think the categorization is kind of important here, because that research, that sort of last minute risk assessment research, is kind of like an individual pulling a book out of their note pocket and ticking a few things and signing off and putting the book away and fucking doing work. So I don't sort of see that as a pre-job brief in any way. I'd sort of categorize it as we're talking about a point of work conversation between two or more people that's focused on planning how the work's meant to be done, right, or going to be done. So yes, a JSA might be part of that process, or not. But really it's about, I guess, the meeting or the briefing or the conversation or the something.
Should be should be about, right? Because we were talking about sort of what you see in industry. And I think what you see more often than not in industry is folks gathered around the iPad or the piece of paper or clipboard or whatever.
Yeah.
Walking through the steps of a JSA. And I see a lot of times that's what they're trained. This is what the safety people are training them to do. But I agree, Dave, that the right thing to do is have a conversation about how it's supposed to be happening.
And I think that's the problem. I think the paperwork is actually is a distraction from what we actually want that process to kind of look like. And it came up last week. I don't know who to credit for it, but someone said, what's the most important part of a pre-job briefing? And they were sort of saying, make sure everyone signs the paperwork. It's like, that's kind of what we're here to do. And I guess we'll share some stories about that in this discussion. But the paper, I think some of the paperwork is mostly a distraction. Like I stood there observing a pre-job brief a while ago last year, which is usually just guys and girls sitting around with energy drinks and cigarettes before they start their work, right? Actually saw the local butcher yesterday walking to work, just got 4 500 ml or half-liter monster cans, right? Going to work. I'm like, yeah.
Fucking ready to rock.
That's
Give
how
that
this
guy
works.
some sharp objects.
Now you sort of got a supervisor sitting there going, how do I fucking work this tablet and then this page and that page and what's going on here and shit and you go, oh, okay, well we've missed the point, right, of what we want these people to do.
I don't know if you've met the requirement as a mechanism of control, and I think that's that really superficial comfort that comes from like I was on a job site. People let me on job sites sometimes, and this dude got clocked, but like he was fine, but just in case he didn't feel fine later because the bucket came around and hit him, and I'm going to say tapped him on the head a little. The foreman went back and said, fuck, this guy, me, didn't sign the JSA.
Yeah.
So now we had to run back, go back on the iPad, try to figure out if it was going to timestamp it, and we were all going to be fucked, and go sign this thing. As some evidence for someone later in their head to use that to exercise control. Is that sort of feeling or reduction of uncertainty? I know with certainty that people have been wasting time doing it.
Yep.
And I don't know how I think that's the kind of folks that show up, Dave, that you get to talk with at this thing with Matt, 7 foot tall Matt.
He's big.
I mean, those are the folks that are having this discussion, but there's a overwhelming majority, I think, that are out there, and the crews know it's bullshit, but they don't have a viable alternative that somebody's given them. They just have thrown their hands up and go, okay.
But what's interesting? It's a necessity of work, right? Like people have to, I guess Ron would know this better than us, Ben, about joint cognitive activity and how that works.
And construction and things like that too.
But it's kind of
a safety. I mean, just safety.
And safety in general.
Yeah.
And I'll take ex-presidents for $200, thanks.
Yeah.
But like people have to talk about how they're going to get joint work done. Right. And so what's interesting is, these conversations start right from the moment that people turn up at work and they're organizing their truck and they're getting stuff done and what's on today and how we end up. And so these normal conversations that happen to coordinate activity. And then we put this very kind of artificial process in front that's designed to help them with that. And I don't even think these processes are designed to be sort of supportive of people starting to plan joint activity.
No.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you often.
There's your runway, Ron. There it is, mate. I've just thrown it.
But no,
they paper about that.
I mean, I think it's. I may not have written a few words. No, but no, I think
Ben in your defense because he got so pissed. He got so, I guess, fed up. He walked out.
Yeah, he was just enough of this shit. This is crap.
I got cognitive activity for you. I'm out of here.
Like you have this often this piece of paper that, in my experience, when I've gone and like talked to a lot of the crews about what they do with it, it is not uncommon and probably common for them to say, "Oh, the foreman goes in the truck and fills it out, and we just hang out till he's done, and then we sign it." Like, so it's
Okay.
there's no paperwork itself is not designed to facilitate conversation. And like we force them to put a signature on that because then we can say they actually touched the piece of paper. And to your point, Ben, that creates a sense of control. But like at the end of the day, we have to trust people to have a conversation. And like we're not
I think that's where it comes from, though. I think all of this is rooted in
You're rooted.
kind of shitty thinking that these people are too stupid to take care of themselves.
100%.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and people,
Well,
people say that
Speaking-
kind of thing.
well, I think
I say that about our podcast, by the way.
yes,
It's
that is
rooted.
very true, actually.
They're too stupid to take care of themselves.
Dave's just really excited because you said rooted, which is another
is it
very
different?
cool Australian term.
It is.
Oh, that's not a universal term. Hey, there you go.
No,
No,
no, but we know what it is.
yeah,
You're
we're aware. If reference, I'm sure maybe in that wallpaper somewhere.
Someone
It's a
knows what we're talking about there.
But oh shit, I forgot what I was gonna say.
Yeah, we did too.
So,
No, but like you have to. I think the thing that we miss is often these pieces of paper that are designed to create that pre-job briefing. They're written like, in my experience, very far away from the work by a well-intentioned safety person, who is like, okay, what are the hazards that we need them to identify, and then you create it based off of that. Whereas, like in my experience, again, and I think there's even another paper by Yelp and Drew, I think, or maybe it was you, Dave. I don't know. Some of you Yahoos
There's a good chance it's
with
David.
where you had, when you actually go out and observe people doing these kinds of things, they have their own kind of organic process often, where they are actually doing these things, but if you're not looking for it, you don't know what it looks like. It's often, and it's very different than the paperwork, right? So they are actively managing the risk, but we're not writing the tool in a way that supports that. We're writing the tool in a way that supports us being able to know that they did it, which I think is a very different
They did
activity.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's not even know that they did it. I mean, know that, like you said before, that Ben said, I think, like, know that they touched the paper. At some point in time, they touched the
Yeah.
paper, but it's not really.
Yeah. And then I have comfort that I can satisfy the regulator. Right?
Yeah.
Is that, these are required in a lot of places.
Well, they're not actually. Well, not in Australia. I mean,
They're not in the United States, like in construction,
you
but
have
they're
to write something down, for fuck's sake.
yeah.
That's an
Do you think
organizational choice,
Do you think that some of that is, I think we've all been at a work site where a crew is going through this, and it's a really good discussion. There's some depth to it. They're looking at those things that are novel. And then you go and you work with a crew that is not interested. Do you think that some of that trying to structure or oversimplify and overstructure is because of that? Like, people are worried that, Dave, you said this in I can't remember all of our amazing podcasts, but at one point, like making a rule for the one in a hundred, or one, like it's, the one bad hiring choice that you made, you're going to make every rule around that. And I think a lot of the sort of structure around what you hope a pre-job brief comes from that. Like, man, what if there's an asshole there?
But I think creating a form or writing a process is just fucking lazy, right? Like the question, the question to your point, Ben, has to become, and it's a reflection point. If you think about construction organizations, utility organizations, all these businesses, ask them, how many of you have fucking actually given your supervisors training and developed capability in facilitating a good job brief? I bet
very, very
bet,
small.
more than half or a large number goes, I've given them a form. It's like, for fuck's sake, like I've given them a form
That's
and
way more than half, man.
yeah, well, I'm being generous. But
Yeah.
like actually, it's got to be about, process is about the application of capability in kind of and we can't give people a process and no capability and expect the process to solve the fucking problem, right? Because the process
Well,
just becomes the goal.
exactly, because I think that's the problem when you have
That's our tagline
if
on this one, or the short version, right? The
the process becomes the
process
goal.
becomes the goal. It's not going to solve problems
It's
on its
actually
own.
there's a
No.
paper, not by me, I think it's Wastel. It's called The Fetish of Technique, and it's about basically how if you've got a complex issue, you got to be really careful when the process becomes more important than the outcome. That
Yeah.
and that happens in institutions which become heavily process orientated, which is exactly right. Okay, so the purpose of a pre-job brief is to fill out the form. Well, no, actually, the purpose of a pre-job brief is to actually plan the work and identify and plan to control the hazards. The form should be an the form should provide a process that helps for that to occur. Um,
Yeah.
How do
But
you think?
that's exactly I think what is happening, right? Like you're a foreman, you get promoted from being just a craft worker, and now it's like, okay, you're going to lead the pre-job briefs, which in your experience probably was just someone handing you a piece of paper to sign. Now you're the one that has to fill it out. So that is the entirety of the pre-job brief, is filling out the paperwork. It's not, hey, let's have a conversation, let's talk about the work. Now you may do that separately, but you don't think of that probably as a safety thing. That's just you doing the work. I hear that people all the time, okay, first, you ask them, okay, what's your steps in your work? Okay, well, we get there, and then, foreman goes and fills the safety paperwork out, and then, you know, um,
And then we go do shit. But
and
how
then
do
we
you
go,
think you work around? I think people like glorify things like aviation and healthcare for these sorts of briefs because they're thorough in a lot of ways. I don't think that has to do with the level of professionalism or expertise. I think it has to do with it's fucking novel most of the time, right? Like there's not a lot that's the same for a clinical team, even the ones that often work together. There's new shit, different patient background. There's not a lot that's the same in aviation, but you go, you're on a drill site for the 10th day in a row, or you're digging up and replacing gas line for the next 4 miles. It's kind of the same gas line. And I think that similarity in work from one day to the next, it makes it tough because the conversation isn't all that different, right?
yeah,
The
it is.
things that might kick our ass is not, they haven't radically changed from yesterday. The team is the same. So
yeah.
how do you get around that? I think that's a big one for me.
One
Is
of the things that is endemic in my industry for some reason,
what
and
industry? Is it construction?
data center construction,
I
my
Oh
think it's
yeah.
actually,
um,
I think it's, isn't it data center construction planning?
development. Yeah, so
Sort of
Development.
discussion.
we tell other people to do work. And then we watch them do it, and then we judge them. Um, that's the fun
And then
part.
we write,
Straight
and then
across the
we
board.
write, then we write letters. We
Yes,
write lots of
strongly
letters.
worded letters, my friend.
Strongly worded.
Letters.
Um,
Drawing
but
their attention to.
there's I've seen it in a few different companies now. It's like there's a requirement to have like a JSA or JHA or something that's done like a week or two before the work starts, goes in for review and approval by the general contractor or whatever. And then on the day of, there's a requirement to have a pre-task plan in
Yeah.
addition to the JSA. And it's like, well, I just keep asking people, what is the difference between those documents? Like, I don't like what do we
Well,
what are we
two,
doing?
two's
Not
better.
helpful.
Two's always better than one.
Yeah, well,
Sure.
yeah. I mean, more is better.
Just look at Ben's wallpaper.
I'm just like at least 12 in some of those files.
But I think-
But like the thing I'm trying to get people to do is let's get rid of the pre-task plan one right beforehand. Just bring the JSA to the job and say, is there anything different today from this document? If there's not, cool, let's get to work. Right? Like get people like you. don't make the paperwork about filling out the paperwork every day. Like, just make the focus on, is there anything different from today to yesterday? And that's the conversation we need to have. Like, to me, I think that refocuses us from like, okay, I need to identify all hazards every day to
Yeah.
what's changed.
Funny story. You mentioned before about Ron, about the supervisor sitting in the truck and doing the paperwork. I got called in. I was doing some work with a utility organization, and they were having this big increase in like shoulder and back injuries in their older, experienced workforce, right? And they sort of didn't know what was going on, and sort of said, come in and have a bit of a look. I'm going back a few years now. And what had happened was they'd put all of their site paperwork, pre-job briefs, procedures, the quality checks and everything onto an iPad, right? And the supervisors are all 50 something trade workers, and they've gone like, fuck this, handed the iPad to the apprentice and said, you drive the iPad, I'm going up the pole and just doing the work. This is fucked. I'd rather be. So all of the supervisors and foremen that were normally managing the job and managing the paperwork were back on the tools doing the work because they were fucked if they were going to,
Nice.
learn how to use the iPad. And the apprentices were doing all the paperwork and not getting any experience with the actual work in the organization. So, it's again goes to that point, and I guess this is a bit of a segue to maybe talk about, the application of technology into pre-job briefs and things like that, because most of the teams that I work in and around, and I know, people are going to say there's some amazing technologies out there, but most of them just go, just give us the simple one-page paper piece back, and fuck this iPad that's out of battery and doesn't have connectivity, and I need to scroll through 15 pages and figure out drop down lists and do all this shit, and then I can't see it and can't change it. And I think, yeah, maybe it's a good point. Like I think there's some good technology opportunities out there, but a couple of things I've seen worry me, that people are just throwing technology at the front line for these sort of pre-job processes and making everyone's life a little bit harder.
It's a good point, right? Because I know in one job we had, we found that when they made everything electronic, it's sort of just because of the nature of how people had structured their jobs, where their like iPads were or whatever's were, and like, the service available at the site. Like, it made it so it was more difficult to have conversations. Like, they were so busy focusing on getting the technology right that they couldn't, they didn't have as much time to be out there talking to people. And so I think in general, there's a specific technology I have in my head that I will get to eventually, I bet.
It's the Romtron 4000.
Yeah, it's really good. I think everybody should buy it. No, but like,
You
I
can
think
bring Ron to your job site and kind of
it's
pick
the
him up and scan him around a
fucking,
little.
yeah, it's it's actually, yeah, it's an AI generated Ron. Walks around. He talks about joint activity.
Yep.
Um,
It's a
Hey, look,
hologram. It's a
yeah,
hologram.
it's really great. Yeah, it's
yeah, if
really,
stuff isn't safe, you just put more Ron on it,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
there's nothing that can't solve, man.
yeah. More
That
on,
that
Moron.
yeah,
more on.
the technology piece of things. Do you guys see? I think there's this pull toward kind of using it instead. So either I do it or I let the machinery do it. I don't really want to let technology do it, but
I
I mean,
think
if
it's
these
who it's
guys
in
are going to
service
fuck with
of.
me,
Like,
let's do
I think a lot of it's just about more control. It's a faster way of me and a more transparent way of me knowing that you've touched the paper, right?
Yeah,
And so it's and even if we think about like
and I
electronic,
can see it in real time now too,
you look at
right?
electronic permit to work, right?
Yeah.
No operator I've ever spoken with likes electronic permit to work. I fucking hates it. It's always confusing and it's all out. They all go, just give us the paper permit back, right? But no, the organization wants to see all the permits and be able to, check it all. So, I think with some of these things, it's like, who's it in service of? Like, and most of the times, I think it's in service of the organization
Yep.
and the overlords, as opposed to the people who are doing the work. The overlords. The
I
people.
I
agree.
I think man, I can count well, I think I've probably had one
No, you
client that's
can't.
using yeah.
Yeah, oh
Well, the
boy.
good news is it's one.
Yeah,
Um, probably one client using any of the sort of AI imaging or image recognition to find things that anger it on a job site. You know,
Oh, it's like a
hazard
camera.
ID.
Yeah.
And they would not let it go. And everyone hated it too. They wouldn't let it go. And the best thing that we could sort out if they weren't going to let it go was don't look at it until after. You know, do the sort of manual, the discussion. Let's look around and figure this out on our own. And then we'll let the robot take a look. And maybe there's something that it sees and we don't. And that's cool, man. Maybe it's a good catch and we can talk about why that's different than what we saw. But what they were doing before was, you know, spin the thing around, use that to check blocks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
actually, when we spun it, led to better discussion most of the time.
yeah. So 7 Foot Matt and their current research project, it's looking at this and the automatic. So there's find significant difference if you park the technology and have a good hazard identification conversation, and then use some of those technology to see if we've missed anything. Significantly different exercise than if you get fucking lazy and spin your fucking mega Ron 4000 around the job site. And Ron goes, here's the 5 things to worry about. And you come along and go, yep, checks out, tick, 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 sign off, let's go, and fucking lazy, let the AI. Like it's significant.
And that's exactly what that
in quality,
100%.
in that company.
Yeah.
Well, I know
they had the right
research it's science. It's science.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the same thing. Like,
part.
I think that's the same thing. Like Rayo's, lab is found, right? Like, with
Isn't that your lab, Ron?
Nah, I'm not part of the lab anymore. I'm out of
They
that
kicked you out.
Yeah, they said
he's like lab alumni.
They don't know I'm not there. The Moron 3000 is walking around.
That's like when they, when they retire like lab animals.
Yeah.
They're still sort of alumni, and that's kind of Ron's position.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't have like a Buckeye tattoo or something, or you don't get like an industry fellow type position or anything?
Yeah, well, I walked in there to show them my Buckeye tattoo, and they're like, "Hey, Ron, well, it's good to see you. We're going to take your badge. You're not allowed."
And they've gone, not.
And I was like, "Hey, guys, okay, I'll just cover this up."
Yeah, we don't want to see that eye.
Yeah. But no, I think the thing with the AI to me is, this gets to I think a bigger point with all of this is, what is the problem that we're trying to solve with this tool, whatever it is, whether it's paperwork or AI. And I think when you have the AI doing the work and then you're going to go and check the work of the AI versus the way Hallowell was recommending, is you're creating a different problem that the worker now has to solve, right? Like, looking at the work environment and identifying hazards is something that we train people to do all the time.
Or we don't.
Right? Like, and it's just experienced. Like, you go and you're out there in the field, you see these things, you get used to it, right? Like, that's something that I think is an easier ask of a worker. Asking a worker to, okay, now check to make sure the AI is accurate is a different skill set. Right?
Well,
Like,
it feels like somebody's trying to catch you out too, right? Like, here's the right answers. Why didn't you get those answers, fuckwit?
Yeah, exactly. All right. So here's another one that I've seen. And this one's interesting. It's a variation on a theme, and it's
finally got to something interesting.
It's, I mean, I've been
Don't get your hopes up, Ben.
So maybe you guys have heard of this, maybe you haven't. That it's a technology solution. It's AI based, and it's specifically for pre-job briefings, not for paperwork. But it's where they film the foreman giving the pre-job briefing, and then a large language model will then give that person feedback on how good their pre-job briefing was or was not.
So
cool.
What do you think? What do you think of that? That's something I've seen in a few different places.
I think that that particular technology gets broken and accidentally turned off a lot.
That's a key looking for a lock, you know.
I think that company's gone through a lot of phones and things.
No, that's somebody came up with an idea and is just trying to backward engineer it into some revenue. I don't. There was no problem looking for that as a solution. Like they've just defined a problem to
We could
match it.
probably design some AI that we could load up into safety professionals' computers, even though Ron doesn't think safety professionals are necessary. But we could load this software up that kind of like reads all of the emails and listens to all the Teams meetings that the safety team has and gives the safety team some feedback on a sort of a daily basis about their.
Just get an email. Ron, I noticed in that meeting
Ron, I noticed that.
you
Yeah.
were a little bit aggressive. A
Yeah.
little bit.
I noticed that you spent 57% of your week talking about hand injuries. Maybe you should
Maybe we should
worry
focus
about the
on
stuff that kills people.
Yeah. Oh, that's fucking great.
Yeah, we could
Yeah.
we'll trademark that. Don't tell our 8 listeners, don't tell anyone. We're going to design some software to give safety teams feedback on their work.
I think that's awesome.
And we'll just start an LLC called Fuck Safety Make Money.
Yeah.
To sort of it's
With
not
the big-
useful, but there's a subscription model that you're gonna like it.
With the
It's not
logo.
useful unless you want to give us money,
Yeah,
if that's
just
what you consider a good use.
And the logo is just that T-shirt that's wading through the blood of injured workers.
Yeah. We get like in bed. What's your guys' use case? Well, so people give us money and then we spend it.
Yes. I think we need to have, when there's like really cool acronyms, maybe bloodbath could be just a reference to the blood of injured workers. Something like that. Or FSMM, I think, would do it. It's a little shorter, less effort. Dave's good at acronyms, though.
Yeah, we gotta.
Yeah, we'll work that out. We'll work that out. But
So
yeah,
what
so
is
I think the technology stuff. I think you said that's a key. Looking for a lock, and another paper titled something like, well, it's titled "Garbage Can Model of Organizational Choice." Just says, organizations are full of solutions, looking for problems to attach themselves to, right? And people are going, "Oh, AI," and I get the usefulness of AI. I'm a believer in that, but it's like, oh, let's try and apply things in places where, to Ron's point, what's the problem we're trying to solve, right? And the problem that we're trying to solve is to help people have a good conversation about the work that they're just about to do and how they're going to make it successful and safe, right? Like that's the problem, or that's the opportunity. And everything that we're doing, whether it's process or training or technology, should be geared around supporting that outcome. And if it's
that's a good segue, Dave, into sort of what
the finish,
what a good one of these looks like. What does a good pre-job brief look like or sound like, however we want to?
I think 7 foot tall Matt designed a quality. Well, no, I think he designed a quality framework for this. It might be 15 or 19 elements of a quality pre-job brief. I don't have it in front of me, but listeners can look that up if they want to avoid listening to us for a few minutes.
Jesus, I wouldn't want to read 15 or 19 elements.
19.
Can we knock it down?
You don't have to read it wrong. That's why you've got the AI filming the supervisor, and it's programmed with the 15 to 19 elements, and it can give them that feedback. You don't need to worry about it yourself anymore.
Element 16 says that you're a fucking asshole.
Element 16 says that you should have used more first names when you addressed your group.
Yeah.
I'm super psyched about this feedback app we're going to put together. We're just going to train it on. We'll go out and just watch a lot of these and just train it based on our feedback.
Yeah, it's legit. It's legit. It will listen to every Teams meeting or Zoom meeting that you have. It'll review every email that you send back in your organization, and it will help. It will help you.
But maybe like our logo is just like a safety guy sitting in front of his computer, and it's just big letters says, "Have you tried not being a knob?"
And there's still blood around his head. It's the blood of injured workers.
It's just like,
he's just.
And what would be cool if the software every morning when you boot up your computer, it just flashed up on your screen. How about today you try not being an asshole? Just like,
but you have
stretch goal,
the accept or decline button.
Yeah,
exactly.
You're like one of these gaming, like the gaming Duolingo apps. It's like you're on a 75-day streak of being a dick.
There's the Ron 3000 instead of the little owl from Duolingo. That's there. Hey, have you tried not being such a fucking dipshit?
Nope.
Yeah, I love that. So what would we recommend? What would be our 25-step program to a better pre-job?
I think I don't know. The first question for me is if you're creating paperwork or entries into a computer system that goes with this, what is anyone doing with that, right? Are you going back and learning from that, or is it just piling up because you can? And then if the answer is, and I think it is, yeah, we're not doing anything with that, then okay, so what are we trying to do? And that gets to Dave's
I think
point earlier.
It's an
What's
accountability
the
tool.
actual problem?
I don't think it'd be that hard to design, you know, uh, for organizations to get clear on what they want. Like you want participation. You want everyone involved to be involved. You want to focus on kind of like the dialogue around what does success look like for this job? What's the prioritization of our goals? What are the individual roles and contributions of people and how does it work together? What are we looking out for? What do we need to make sure goes right? Like it wouldn't be hard to design the 6 questions that the teams work their way through, right? Like it's not fucking difficult. Just park all that shit on the side that you're currently doing, get back to the core of what you're trying to achieve, and then bring back in things that actually help that. Not
I
fucking,
think there's,
not fucking
and it's
flying.
still,
You're not flying to the moon.
well, it still gets fucking weird though. And to go full circle and pick on aviation, I gave him a little credit earlier, but like a flight risk assessment tool. Have you guys seen those? The
Is that what
frat?
do pilots use that?
Yep. And it's those questions, right? So here are the questions. They
Like,
supposedly use that.
is the left wing there? Yes. Is the right wing there? Yes.
Now, these are questions.
Are there
The
engines?
crew?
Yes.
Yeah. Are the doors attached?
The door's attached.
Are you there?
Are we confident the door's going to stay attached?
That's a good
I think
question,
those
actually. That's
things,
a really good question.
those things, they start out really well. There's those 5,
Doors?
6, 7,
Oh.
the questions run, and the doors. I think, although I don't know if they started well. And you go through those questions, and even that gets, I don't know, sort of too routine over time. I think the shitty part when they go really badly, it's because people have tried to assign a score to them or something.
Oh yeah, that's rubbish.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
So I think it's okay to talk too about not just the questions, but maybe the outcomes. Right? To really train people on, okay, this is what this looks like when we make a good decision based on these, or when I can make a good decision because I've got really good information. How you get there, here's some sample questions. We think these work pretty well. Folks in the field have put them together. If you don't ask those ones, that's okay. But we're trying to get to this point.
I like that. I actually really like that idea of being clear on outcomes. So it'd almost be a thing to give a supervisor, at the end of a pre-job brief. It's like, I am confident that, and a bunch of bullet points. I am confident that everyone understands, their role for the work today. I am confident that we have identified all the high energy hazards and have, controls in place. I am confident that whatever these things are, and you say, here's the 5 or 6 outcomes from a pre-job brief that the supervisor needs to be confident, are sort of covered off on. And like you said, Ben, give them a whole bunch of training, a bunch of, ways of getting at that. And, just have this relentless focus on the outcome.
And the Rontron 4000 or whatever it was called. Give them that too.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely that goes without
And,
saying.
and definitely then the evaluation, Punk Rock Safety approved evaluation tool.
Well, even better now that Meta have just released their AI glasses. We're just going to have these Ray-Ban Meta, like the Rontron 4000, and the supervisor literally just, it's like putting on the Superman suit, right? They just put these glasses on and they turn into the Rontron 4000, right? When they're doing this.
It's like a teleprompter.
It's got the teleprompter.
It's got that like Max Headroom guy from the 80s. It's me.
WWRD, what would Ron do? And then you just read the script.
Super Foreman just stands up in front of the crew and pulls the glasses out of the thing and just puts them on. They're high vis yellow glasses, like because it has to be yellow. And they just perfect pre-job brief, right? We'll trademark that. We're going to trademark that too. We're going to do that.
Just blast out of the ground. It's
you
amazing.
Boys, you're in San Fran. Ben, any chance you can reach out to Zuckerberg today and see if he'll entertain some kind of
these guys don't keep regular business hours. I'm going to pop over to Menlo Park immediately.
Yeah, just straight into Google headquarters. Say, have we got the Ron?
No, that's That's Meta.
Collab.
That's
Meta.
Different.
Yeah, Meta.
Oh, same deal.
Meta.
There, same thing.
It's crazy. I've been in that Facebook.
That's a Freudian slip.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, but I like that outcomes based thing. I think as well, you have to. I would challenge people to number one, to your point, Ben, step away from the accountability piece of it, like, because I don't think it's actually.
You heard it here, folks. Ron hates accountability.
I do. But you know, like, that's often the only reason for the paperwork, right? The signage. So I think to your point, like, what is that actually doing for us? Is it actually demonstrating accountability, or is it just making us feel better that it makes it easier to punish people if we have an accident? Not that it actually does anything pre-accident. But then secondly, like, I feel sometimes like we're trying to have a pre-job piece of paper or whatever that does everything, that captures everything, every potential negative scenario that can happen, and I'm not sure that is.
You have tiny font, you can do anything.
Yeah.
I think
you need to ask people every single day about whether they're on drugs and whether they're trained to do the job. And it's like this guy goes, it's like, am I on drugs? Well, there's two answers here. One is I'm not, and I say no. The other answer is I am, and I still say no. There's no way that answer is a yes.
What's the guy going to do if he says yes?
What's going to happen? He goes back to his supervisor and said, I thought it was okay that I turned up to work, high, but it appears from my pre-job brief form that I'm not supposed to do that.
Nobody told me.
So I kind of assume now I just go sit in the lunchroom for the shift and you pay me and I'll just sit in the lunchroom on TikTok.
Yeah. But like, I think making these things much more specific to the types of risks or hazards of the task, particularly high energy ones.
Yes.
Like, not doing every single potential hazard that has ever existed in the world kind of checklist, or I think that makes the most sense to me.
And I think exactly right. And maybe that's back to aviation, because even though, like you said, it can get a little bit monotonous, these processes, you're asking things that are specific to the aircraft. You're checking things that are important for flight. You do your mass balance calculations and all this stuff. And that stuff's important. So even though you're doing it every flight, you kind of know that it's important to be doing it. To your point, Ron, it's kind of specific to the work. So all those generic pre-job brief bits, do we have the procedure? Is everyone fit for work? All that sort of stuff. Like, fuck all that stuff off and just go, okay, we're actually laying pipe or cable.
Wait.
We're laying.
We drew a diagram on this wallpaper.
So we're laying pipe, and what's kind of relevant to that? I guess ask Ben's mom. I don't know. I don't know.
No, 100%. But like,
I think we solved it.
To your point, no, like, just last thing on the technology, like where I've seen technology work really well is when people, because you have like the ability to do like logic and build logic into checklists, where you have it like, okay, here's the task we're going to do, and then the rest of the form tailors directly to that task, and so you get rid of all the extraneous bullshit. And so instead of having like 30 items to fill out, there's like 5, because it's very specific, right? So I think if you do technology, do it so it helps focus in on the specific task, not so that it helps you hold people accountable more quickly. Solved.
Done.
Let's go lay some pipe, boys.
All right. I'm out. I'm over this. Got to go wade through some blood and make some money.
Well done, boys.
Bye.